Vice President Kamala Harris conceded the presidential election yesterday. She called Donald Trump and conceded privately, and then she gave a speech. She gave a speech in Washington, D.C. around 4 p.m. Eastern, and it shouldn't be notable. It really should be no big deal, but it is a big deal that she conceded the election without claiming that there was fraud. She conceded the election without alleging that it was rigged. She conceded the election without saying that the media and the opposite party and election officials and law enforcement and voting and election monitors conspired against her in a nearly impossible to pull off multi-point conspiracy. She somehow got through the speech without inciting a riot or suggesting that she would incite a riot. And this would normally be something that we don't even mention, but it's notable because of the alternative. Of course, Donald Trump doing all of those things in 2020 and even claiming fraud this time around until it became clear that he would win. Now, we're going to get to that. I say sarcastically, thank God that there was no fraud this time around, right? We'll get to that a little bit later. Here is Kamala Harris saying, we have no choice but to accept the results of the election. Of course, there is a choice. There's doing what Trump did last time, but reasonable people don't have a choice. Here is Kamala Harris.
Now, I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it. But we must accept the results of this election. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
It's almost like sarcastic applause. It's almost like tongue-in-cheek cheer, because we all know that if the results had been different, Donald Trump would not be saying anything like this. Of course, he wouldn't be participating in a transfer of power since he wouldn't be involved in it because he's not in office right now. But Trump would not be saying, well, I lost and you've got to accept the results. You win some, you lose some, and sniffing. He would have been sniffing, but he wouldn't have said any of those things. And Kamala Harris, it's a bizarre upside down world. And I know that the last couple of days have been tough. And I don't know that this is much, I don't know that we can take much solace in this, but it's an upside down world when the normality comes from the candidate that lost simply saying, I lost. That's it. It's not, let's find fake electors. It's not, let's threaten people on the phone with phrases about 11,000 votes.
I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
It's just, we're going to participate in what we need to participate in. Kamala Harris also adding that she concedes the election, but she doesn't concede the fight. And I think that this was probably as good a way that this sentiment could be put, given the circumstances.
While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. The fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people. A fight for the ideals at the heart of our nation, the ideals that reflect America at our best.
You know, I felt about this speech both that it was the right speech at the right time, showing that she's not going to stoop to what Republicans stooped to over the last 4 years. But also, I couldn't help but feel that the speech was also representative of sort of why Kamala Harris lost, in that there was a lot of generic pie in the sky without necessarily offering the tangible vision for what's next that I think a lot of people need. But in her defense, it's tough to do right now. I mean, I tried to do it yesterday. We still lost 10,000 YouTube subscribers, 200 paid members, 400 subreddit followers, 1,000 followers on Twitter, 2,000 on Facebook. I'm not saying, oh, pity me. I'm saying this is happening. The Midas Touch guys lost 30,000 YouTube subscribers yesterday. Brian Tyler Cohen lost 10,000. Our friend Jesse Dollemore lost a bunch. All this is public information. There is a despondency that makes sense, and we need to do what is best for our mental health, but we also need to do what's best for our communities and what's best for our friends and family and children and grandchildren. And right. So in that sense, there was some good stuff from Kamala Harris, including sort of a request or a suggestion that people not despair.
To the young people who are watching, it is... I love you. To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. You have power. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before.
So, a fine speech, a mixed bag, a really difficult time for the half of the country that did not vote for Donald Trump. And I don't know that anything really cuts through to the core of the situation more than when they lose, they immediately bring up the fight. And unless we do the same when we're ready, I'm not saying it has to be today. Do what needs to be done for mental health. But if when they lose, they double the fight, we have to figure out what is the next step. And it can't just be saying bye-bye, because then everybody loses. Finalizing the speech, Kamala Harris wrapping up in a typical fashion.
There's an adage an historian once called a law of history.
By the way, an historian. Interesting. So we have another in the bucket of it is an historian.
True of every society across the ages. The adage is, only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. I know many people feel like we are entering a dark time, but for the benefit of us all, I hope that is not the case. But here's the thing, America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant, brilliant billion of stars. The light of optimism, of faith, of truth, and service. HU. And may that work guide us, even in the face of setbacks, toward the extraordinary promise of the United States of America. I thank you all. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. I thank you all.
So to be totally transparent, in a normal world, this speech is a 6. The fact that there was not even any doubt as to whether she would be conceding or starting to incite riots or whatever the case may be, that certainly does count for something. We now must deal with RFK wanting to end water fluoridation and much more. We'll get to that a little bit later. That's the situation in which we find ourselves. The holiday season is here, and it's time to start baking delicious homemade favorites with family and friends. And our sponsor, Wild Grain, makes you look like a baking expert without the stress. This holiday, treat yourself and your loved ones to fresh baked goods. Wild Grain has incredible new fall and winter pastries, but don't wait, because once they sell out, they are gone for the year. Wild Grain is the first Bake from Frozen subscription box for artisanal breads, pastries, and pastas. And my favorite, the croissants. Every time I talk about it, people write to me, David, croissants. I say, yes, I'm from Argentina. Of course, the croissants. Wild Grain's boxes are fully customizable to your taste and dietary restrictions. And in addition to their classic variety box, they launched a gluten-free box and a plant-based box. What Wild Grain really does, it just takes the hassle out of baking, because all of the items bake from frozen in 25 minutes or less. No mess, no cleanup. My favorites are the croissants, okay? There's nothing wrong with any of the products, but the croissants, they come in frozen, you bake them, the quality and the freshness, it's just fantastic. Impress your guests with minimal effort this holiday season. Wild Grain is offering my audience $30 off your first box, plus a free item in every box, when you go to wildgrain.com/Pacman. The link is in the description.